I didn't plan for the race, and I didn't finish well either. In fact, the day after the race, a friend pointed me toward Proverbs 19, verse 2, which says, "Enthusiasm without knowledge is not good. If you act too quickly, you might make mistakes." So how can we avoid making these endurance mistakes in youth ministry? Well, by planning. Let me ask you 4 questions that may help you plan accordingly. First question is this: what events do you need to attend each year that will keep you personally fresh? I mean, are there any training or encouragement events that keep you going? Do certain student activities and events fuel your fire? If they do, you need to make sure to plan to attend those. A second question is, what things do you love to do with students? And as you plan out your year, are you ensuring that you're doing them and avoiding other events that drain you? A third question might be, who are the students who energize you, and who are the ones who drain you? I mean, let's face it, some kids give us energy, and some kids drain us. And if you're only hanging around with the students that drain you, you won't last. And a fourth question is this: what programs are you committed to? And are these programs the best use of your passion and gifts? Now, answering these questions will help you plan accordingly. And endurance comes from wise planning of how we spend our youth ministry time. Everyone has a limited amount of time. No one volunteer can make it to every event, care for every student, participate in every meeting, and make it over the long haul. This youth worker will burn out. If you aren't taking the initiative to plan your calendar and your ministry and your personal time, then it'll be planned for you. And that leaves you vulnerable and open to everything that comes your way. Now, a second way to build endurance for long-term youth ministry is that endurance comes from a strong vision. And there must be something beyond the encouragement from students that keeps you in youth ministry. I mean, this is because youth ministry and encouragement are not synonymous terms. I don't know about you, but I don't have many students who approach me and say, "Hey, Doug, you're the greatest. I really appreciate all the time and the sacrifice and the effort you put into this ministry. You have changed my life." No, they don't say things like that. They're more likely to say, "Hey, dude, can I borrow a few bucks? I didn't know we were supposed to bring money." Or they say things like, my mom likes your speaking. I told her you're not as good as Pastor Rick." Now, since we know that in youth ministry we don't get very much encouragement, we need to know that we have a vision for something greater than our interactions with students. A vision must be bigger than the inconsistent warm fuzzies you may or may not receive from kids. Now, you may want to ask yourself these questions. Now, they're deep questions, but they're well worth your time to answer them. The first is this: why am I in youth ministry? Ask that. Why are you in youth ministry? Your answer will reflect your motive. A second question is, what am I really passionate about? Now that answer will reflect your heart. The third question would be, how can God use me to make a difference? And this is about direction of your time. A fourth question might be, how has God shaped me for ministry, and what can I contribute? And your answer will define some of your strengths and some of your weaknesses. Now, I encourage you to thoughtfully answer these questions, and then to go over your answers with someone from your youth ministry team. Do your answers give you a vision for why you do what you do? Of course, to find the time to do this exercise means that you'll have to incorporate the first principle and have some wise planning and plan for this time. You see, for me, the bigger vision of youth ministry is what keeps me going when everything gets tough. And it feels like youth ministry is tough every week. I've got to grab onto the fact that God has given me a vision, and that builds endurance. A third principle to build endurance is that endurance comes from using new muscles. You remember when you start working out for the first time? You're in pain the next day. You've got sore muscles because you haven't used them in months or maybe even in years. Well, the same is true for us as youth workers.